Dredge is a wonderful game, where there's fish, weird fish even. 128 fish to be exact, and you can catch them all. In Dredge, you also have your boat, which you can upgrade, you can research new items like engines and rods, there are pursuits, sometimes they reward you with a book which will give you a unique bonus after reading it. This great game, in fact, is full of adventures. And this video is full of major spoilers. Actually, I am the current world record holder of Dredge's any percent speedrun. We did it! We did it! Any percent means that we try to get through the game as quickly as possible. We want to see the credits ASAP and we don't care about fish, about pursuits, the story, books or adventure. All we need is the 5 relics for the collector. And we are the collector. And in the end we wake up Cthulhu, the sinister Lovecraftian god Lord Monster of Doom. What a great story! It took me about 35 minutes to beat Dredge like that. So, one day after finishing this game quicker than it takes to go grocery shopping, I asked myself something. What if I didn't ignore the story, the upgrades, the books, the research? What if I didn't ignore the fish? And well, dear people, this is how the Dredge 100% speedrunning category was born. Until now, I am the only competitor because, well, I am a little naive. A 100% speedrun of a game full of hostile mechanics, RNG heavy sections, 128 fish, 21 pursuits, 12 books, many NPCs, 4 fish shrines, a shit ton of research and upgrades, and what are these funny colorful figures doing again? I'm gonna be fine. Well, as you can imagine, the amount of constipating, planning, trial and error it took to be able to show you the video you are about to see, you probably wouldn't believe it. Even though the game is just 6 weeks old, the speedrunning community has gone a long way already. What makes this game very special for speedrunners as well is the close contact to the developers. They even provided a beautiful streaming kit for me, which I used to design my Twitch channel. And for this video, Joel even sent me a huge package of in-game graphics which will help you people to follow along. Just amazing. Have you ever met a speedrunning scene so wholesome? Well, I didn't. After theorizing a first route, my first try was kind of, well, slow. I still had to learn a lot. How did the mechanics of the pursuits work? When to include the quests of the hooded figures? Where do I get a barrel eye fish? Where do I bring this good boy? And well, after some time and like 20 hours of running this game, the route became clearer and clearer and clearer. I optimized and optimized and optimized, and well, now we finally are close to hitting the 3-hour mark. In this video you will see the current world record, but I am sure we will see major time saves in the future. There still is a lot to test, and with the new update 1.1.0, many major parts of the run have become significantly easier. Every time we come up with a new major time save, I will keep you people updated. This is the highlights of the route, with as much explanation as possible in order to give you all a chance of understanding what we are actually doing here. By the way, the complete route is online as a table. I gladly share it, and I would love to get some competition. If you want to join us in our mission of beating the 3-hour mark, I would appreciate a subscription here on YouTube. If I get over 1,000 followers, I can monetize my videos and buy myself a coffee, for example. I really do like coffee. I also have Twitch. Let's go through the 100% speedrun world record no one asked for. This is the mission of finishing all the pursuits successfully, a complete encyclopedia with 128 fish caught, including their funny little aberrations, a fully upgraded boat, all the researches, all books completely read, gotten every note, we talked to every NPC and finished every fish shrine. But first, a word of today's sponsor! Oh wait, I don't I don't have a sponsor. We want to start the run by skipping the introduction video, so we smash down the escape button. Every game of Dredge starts at the same place. The Marrows are our lovely little starting area. There are 7 pursuits here. 6 of them are going to be finished before we leave this area. First, a fresh start. We talked to the mayor, who wants us to catch fish to feed the people during these hard times. We do that by catching exactly 1 blue mackerel, which is all we need to proceed. We are getting rewarded by Mr. Mayor with a research part which we use to research the improved outboard engine. Little does he know what we are going to do to the economy of this little fishing town. It's a speed run. Of course we are not going to make money the intended way. Instead we sell our basic fishing pole. And as the game mechanics is to give us a free fishing rod every time we have less than $75 and no fishing rod in our inventory, we are shamelessly going to abuse that. We have enough money to pay back our debts to the mayor, and oh, less than $75. Let's get a new fishing pole and sell it. Still less than $75, so we repeat it and get a rusty outboard engine. We have less than $75 again, so we get another fishing rod and sell it. And the next fishing rod we get, we are just gonna install because it is still a fishing game, right? In order to trigger the main quest of the game, we need the item Handkerchief. This item will be handed to us by the fishmonger after bringing him an aberrant fish. Aberrations will not start spawning until day 5 on the in-game timer. So the thing we are going to do now is sleeping. 4 days in a row. After day 3, the lighthouse keeper lady is going to say hi to us in her great voice acting. Yes, she's so happy to see us. Day 4, 23:30. This is the perfect time to go on a fishing trip. We catch 4 arrow squids and we pray that one of them is an aberration. If it isn't, well, it's a restart. This doesn't happen too often. This time though, we get the brood squid. The fishmonger finds the handkerchief inside of the fish and hands it over to us, so we look out of the bullseye for a brief monologue. In fact, it is the handkerchief of our dead wife. Her revival secretly is our main quest. The fishmonger also gave us the first task of his pursuit call to order. But before leaving, we wanna get a better engine. So we again sell the fishing rod from our inventory and the engine, and we get the improved outboard engine. As we have no fishing rod and no money, we get one for free again, which is free money basically, before getting another one and installing it. We talk to the shipwright again. She gives us our first book, which we immediately start reading. We get a package by the mayor which we are supposed to get to Little Marrow before leaving for Blackstone Island to proceed in the main storyline. There we take a good look at ourselves in a mirror and talk to our reflection until we agree to find 5 relics with a dredge crane, which is installed immediately. We start our quest by going west of Greater Marrow. We say hi to the little sea monster on the bottom of the sea, hey Alfred, and dredge the first relic, the key. On our way back to our mansion, we dredge 2 cloths before bringing the key home. There we receive our most important ability, haste. To summarize what it does, you hold down your right mouse button and you go. We say hi to the little monster on the bottom of the sea. In some testing I found out that spam clicking haste is actually up to 15% faster than just holding it. So unfortunately, every speedrun of this game will end up in a finger cramp because you are going to spam click haste for the rest of the game. Next, we pick up that bottled note, dredge a belt buckle which we need for a pursuit in Little Marrow, and dredge 3 scrap metal, 2 cloth, and on our way to Little Marrow we get 2 lumber. We dock in Little Marrow, finish the package delivery pursuit and get a book. Also, we bring the belt buckle to the grieving father to finish the Lost at Sea quest, before emptying our inventory to the storage. Next, we need to perform a very important timing here. We want it to be around 5:40 to 5:50 when waking up, so we have the maximum amount of time for our next trip, which alone is going to finish 2 pursuits and 1 fish shrine. First, we catch 5 cods for the shrine, then we dredge a lumber, we get the note, we get 2 scrap metal and go to the shrine. There is a pretty interesting dynamic here. Every time when the game awards us with an item, we can access not only our inventory, but also our storage. This means that we can empty our inventory here to increase the efficiency of this trip. This mechanism is going to be used multiple times during this run. We can even control time here, but more to this later. The fish shrine rewards us with the Sinus bindle, a great rod which can catch shallow and coastal fish. We catch a Gulf flounder for the fishmonger's quest. It is the reason we had to time this trip so carefully. Since it is a day fish, it is only available between 6 to 18 on the clock. Next, we empty the shipwreck and get 2 lumber, a research part in the ring, before catching 2 grey eels, 2 black groupers and 2 arrow squids, before crashing our boat on a boulder because I just can't memorize their spawning spots. Ahem. We dock at Greater Marrow, finish the first 2 orders of the fishmonger and get a crab pot. We sell the rest of our fish and repair our boat before talking to the builder to trigger her pursuit. We get our first engine upgrade, put the dredged materials into the upgrade slots so we have an empty storage. We research the efficient crab pot. Next thing is a tiny fishing trip. We fill up our inventory as much as possible. We sell our fish and now we have enough money for our second improved outboard engine, which will just make us so much faster. We get our first crab for the 3rd order of the fishmonger. And now we go for an adventure north of the Marrows. There we find a desperate fisherman. We promise to help him out by delivering a package to Little Marrow. Next stop, Steel Point. We do the first part of the builder pursuit. We dredge 2 scrap metal and 2 lumber, and we are very lucky to get a research part here. Every time when we dredge, we have a 7% chance of getting a research part, and every research part we get by dredging saves us about 2 to 3 minutes in the end, because we don't have to farm it later. We deploy our stuff into the material pile at the Steel Point landing place. Then we dredge 2 cloth and 2 scrap metal before going to the castaway, who is very comfortable in our ship's storage space. We dredge a wood before going to Little Marrow. The castaway jumps to safe lands. We deliver the package to the dock worker, who is, by the way, going to become a zombie because of the mysterious contents of our delivery. We do a nighttime fishing trip in order to get an aberration. We take the crabs and finish the last 2 quests of the fishmonger, who's going to give us 2 research parts and be gone for 3 days after we sell the rest of our fish. We pretend to be a taxi for the builder, bring her up to Steel Point and get another 2 research parts as a reward. We save and quit at the dock because Steel Point is a magical place where reloading the game brings back the materials you have just dredged. We fill up our inventory with cloth and wood, dredge an earring and go to Little Marrow to clean up our inventory. We dredge another 2 lumber, where we are lucky again with the research part before emptying the contents of the Steel Point shipwreck, which I could have done more efficiently, but alright. Dredge another lumber and go to Little Marrow, where we empty the inventory and research the twin jet drive engine. We are done with all the Marrow quests. We are ready. First section done. We sleep until 4. Our way to Gale Cliffs starts with a mission. As the figure in blue is located right between the Marrows and Gale Cliffs, we want to finish its pursuit on our way there. As the figure rewards us with a book, this is also how we ensure to always have something to read. So instead of going right to Gale Cliffs, we spam click our boat into the area of Devil's Spine. Listen to the beautiful noises. We are greeted by a giant monster which does not do any harm as long as you pass it fast enough, and we get a snake mackerel. We take the wrecked note at the makeshift dock before continuing our journey. Hey there! To these little islands, emptying the shipwreck, catching a tiger mackerel and a blue mackerel, and bring them to the figure in blue. We get the book, empty another shipwreck, and get 4 salmon. Next station, Gale Cliffs. We talk to the traveling merchant and get the quest for rare fish. We need the net upgrade and research the improved trawl net, which we are gonna get later. Next, we buy and deploy an efficient crab pot. We get the other 2 upgrades to unlock the upgrade slots for the hull upgrade. Then we empty our storage in there so we have enough space for the materials we are about to get. We do a fishing trip to get the note, dredge a research part and catch 2 wreckfish who are very hard to catch. Hey. What? Ah! Before we sleep, so our crab pot can do some work. We farm money until we have the desired combination of 2 rock crabs and 1 decorator crab for the next fish shrine. This took us 2 days of in-game time before we start our expedition around Gale Cliffs. But ooh, there's an aberration spot where we will find a guaranteed aberration. Catching it now will be a time saver later in the run, so we catch it and sell it and start our expedition a second time, dredging 2 cloth and 1 lumber, getting another research part. By carefully navigating through the cliffs, we find the treasure behind the waterfall. We dredge the family crest, which we are going to need for the Hermitage quest. Dredge another research part. We randomly find a stonefish aberration, finish the second fish shrine, which gives us the opportunity to empty our inventory again, but the storage is too full, so we take the family crest with us, get the research part at the makeshift dock, get a conger eel, which you will find will be a part of the quest as well, and we are lucky to find its aberration because it is really expensive. We get the note, carefully navigate our way through the dangerous night of Gale Cliffs and dredge some materials until the inventory is full. We go to the hermit, let's call him Ludwig, show him the family crest, sell the aberration eel at the platoon, before going to Ingfell, where we talk to the retired whaler. What do you think his name is? He looks like an Edgar to me. Edgar tells us to use some explosives and blow something up. We sleep until 6, so our conger eel rots a little bit more before handing it over to the Ingfell resident with a really good boy. We head over to the platoon, get some researches, upgrade our hull and our inventory. Unfortunately, I got a weird bug here which didn't allow us to leave this upgrade menu, so we were forced to restart the game. This was when I resetted my timer by accident, so I actually had to measure the time after this run manually. So much work. Anyway, we just reloaded, 30 seconds time loss. It's fine. The next step is about getting a lot of money. We catch many ragfish. We can even get 3. Don't mind if I do. We can get 4 and do some crab farming for a quick and efficient source of money income. We get a book by the merchant, do the wrong upgrade so we get some more materials and fish so we can get the upgrade we actually wanted, the engine upgrade. So the twin jet drive engine actually fits in our inventory. We collect our crab pots, get the improved trawl net, which is playing an important role later, and then do one of the hardest things in the game, going through this arc without being noticed by the sea snake. This is done by going through the area very quickly and staying as close to the left wall as possible. We light up the fuse and bang! More ragfish. We sell the fish, go back to Edgar, who tells us to get Ludwig over here, so we do that and fast motion ourselves back to Ingfell to watch Ludwig and Vinny reunite. What a cute story, just like me and my twin brother playing this game together! We get 1 explosive for free and buy 3 more because we really want to blow things up. Like this channel, for example, which leads to a refined metal. Another bang! We get the music box and our second relic and another ragfish. They just sell for so much. We just finished our first visit of Gale Cliffs. Bye bye, Gale Cliffs, I see you again in 2 hours. We make our way to this island where we find a shipwreck which, hey, just looks like our boat. We get the fisherman's note and the items inside before we are lucky and get another aberration of the grey eel. We bring the music box to our mansion, read in the magic book and get the ability Manifest, which basically gives us the possibility to teleport back to Greater Marrow anytime we want. We get into the safe harbor of Greater Marrow, but not without dredging some lumber and filling up our inventory with fish, which we sell. This was the second part of the run. Gale Cliffs are done. We are back in Greater Marrow. This game is beautiful. We sleep until 6 because we don't know yet what is coming for us. We leave Greater Marrow with an empty inventory. All we have in our inventory is our net, a fishing rod and an explosive. We get 2 cloth, another bang, before we dredge the refined metal at Greater Marrow. more dredging. We get 2 research parts. To say it in my own words, this is very nice, very nice, very nice. Very, very, very nice. My god. But I made a mistake here. I forgot to get scrap metal, which would have made it possible for us to get more upgrades in Stellar Basin. Well, it happens. It is night now, and we are on our way to the old fortress of Stellar Basin. We pick up the note, we catch a glowing octopus, and the net is supposed to get us a firefly squid and an aurora jellyfish, but this is where RNG comes into play. As we don't get the jellyfish quickly, we float against the dock. The time goes on as long as the game thinks we are moving. And jellyfish. Now we talk to the researcher who wants a glowing octopus, an aurora jellyfish and a firefly squid. What a coincidence! This is exactly the fish we have in our inventory. She tells us to get some kind of prototype, so alright, off we go to the research outpost. Just in time for me to explain why we are moving here during the dangerous night and not during the safe time of the day. As we want to catch all the fish and the aberrations, we need to get a very special fellow, the Parhelion jellyfish. It just looks like a shiny version of the aurora jelly. Well, it is extremely rare and it can only be obtained by using the troll net during nighttime. So, until we see a pink jelly monster popping up, we can only move at night. Yay! We arrive at the outpost, get 2 research parts and the prototype. We dredge the research part behind this hill and go to the abandoned resort in the south. There we find more materials to dredge and the famous dog, who's so cute and confused and aw. You come with us, little buddy. What a legend. We go to the barrier and bang! Dredge another refined metal before getting another wood. We take a very risky shortcut and feel the adrenaline while finishing a book called The Relaxed Mind. We bring the dog to the researcher, we give her the prototype and get an abyssal rod, which I am going to install in order to catch some expensive abyssal fish. Then we realize that our storage is really packed and get the expulsion machine by the researcher. She tells us which fish to get next and off we go preparing the next adventure. We get 2 anglerfish before finding a spot with an aberration. The inventory is just too small. As we get to the Starlight Platoon, we sell our fish and do the next hull upgrade. We finally can empty our inventory into the upgrade slots and get the fishing rod upgrade. Next thing is researching the fathomless winch and missing 1 research part for it. But it is alright because I will just speed up the next section because it essentially is made out of 3 things. Checking the platoon after every night whether its refill also randomly and luckily included a research part we can buy, and moving during the night to maximize our chances of getting a Parhelion jellyfish. Also we empty the underwater treasure nearby, where we find a lot of treasures and a research part, which finally allows us to research. Also we find another research part in the platoon, which is a must-have, otherwise we would have to get it in the end of the run by farming it with a very painful lottery method. More to that later. We invest the research part into the heavy-duty troll net, which does not only have a higher catching frequency. As I speed up the game again, where we farm research parts, money and jelly, let's quickly talk about the anchovies and their king. Since the heavy-duty troll net catches oceanic fish, the heavy-duty troll net is the only item in the game which is able to catch anchovies. They themselves are easy to get, but see, there is a large problem. The aberration. The anchovy king, similar to the Parhelion jellyfish, is extremely rare and hard to get. It can ruin whole runs when you are not lucky enough to get one quickly. So a major time save, which saved about 20 minutes each run, was to get the heavy duty troll net as early as possible. So we start grinding for the jelly and the king while we are doing everything else. When interacting with RNG like this, we want to maximize our chances. This is how I did it. We continue the farming process, and after getting another few research parts, we can finally research the Net of Desire. We pick up our crab pots to finish up the farming and sell everything except for 1 blue crab, because the trip we are going to do next is going to finish up multiple pursuits at once. The crab is going to be needed for the figure in yellow. We even find another research part after buying another explosive which we will need later in the run, and off we go for our large stellar basing expedition. We start by dredging a research part we forgot earlier. Now this section is wide and dark, so I need the help of my spyglass to find a fangtooth and a hammerhead shark. We get an anchovy, which unlocks the possibility of catching the anchovy king and comfortably navigate ourselves through the nightly horrors to the fish shrine. The hammerhead will sit here for the next 2 hours until we visit it again. We quickly dock at the camp nearby to set the time to daytime. We still need a red snapper, which is a day fish. We dredge the research part in front of the island of the figure in yellow, get the red snapper, and we arrive at our little monochrome friend. He gets our fishes and gives us another book. We go back to the campsite, sleep until it is night, so we have a slight chance of catching the Perhelion jelly. We find a moonfish, which is a fish with an extremely rare spawning rate, so we get it and hope for an aberration, which we don't get, but that's alright. The next thing we are looking for is some red dots in the water, which is the indicator for a loose jaw, which, as you might remember, has the shape of the fish the researcher wants, so we take it. Next fish is going to be an anglerfish and the weird gulper eel, which for me feels like a legendary Pokemon because you can only catch it once every game. What a funny looking fellow. We dock at the outpost, install the expulsion machine, get a research part and activate it. Now we can safely go over to the basin and catch a snailfish and a giant amphipod before getting our third relic. We call it the ring. After dredging it, we luckily get a scarlet prawn by trawling. We bring all the specimen to the researcher and oh, look at this good boy! She gives us the book and we are done here. Last thing we get is the shipwreck south of the fortress and some wood. We are awarded with just another research part, which is amazing, before manifesting back to Blackstone Island. We hand in the ring, we get the banish ability, which will protect us against any monsters for a short amount of time. We catch 2 black-tip reef sharks, sell our fish to the fishmonger and do some research. Then we go out and dredge some more materials when this happened. Very nice. We did get so many research parts already. What is happening? What is happening? So I am very curious how this is going to translate. What? 3 research parts after one another. This is amazing. This never happened to me before actually. An extremely rare event. Very exciting, and remember, every research part saves about 2 to 3 minutes of time. Next we talk to the builder at Steel Point, who now has finished her house. We get a book. We empty our inventory, sleep and dredge more materials, where we get another research part and randomly catch an aberration of the blue mackerel. Until now, we were so extremely lucky. But would it stay that way? Let's see. Welcome to the swamp. We start our mission at the island east of Twisted Strand, where we dredge a research part, the first dog tag in front of the airplane wreck, and an additional lumber. On our way to the platoon, we get the Anchovy King, which, as mentioned, has been a major relief to me. We arrive at the dock, we do some research and some upgrades. In total, there are 2 trips we need to prepare for: the pursuit of the purple hooded figure and the major storyline pursuit inside of the swamp. As you will see, we will have to do 3 because this is where I make a mistake. No biggie, but well, that's how it goes. We find another research part at the shipyard, which again is amazing. We buy 1 additional explosive, get our crab pots ready and deploy them for some money farming. We sleep, collect the crabs, sell them and want to finish our tier 3 upgrades, but we are missing exactly 1 scrap metal. Something to improve in the next run, get more scrap metal before Twisted Strand. We collect more crabs, sell them and find another research part. You see the pattern here, but don't have enough money to buy it, so we collect some more crabs even, sell them and buy the research part. Next we need a rod which can catch mangrove fish, which we can afford after another rod of crabs. As we couldn't get the rod upgrade due to a lack of scrap metal, there is no space for the rod, so now we need to put it into our net slots instead. Not ideal, but it is what it is. We sleep a last time before leaving for our first trip outside. Turns out, this is where I make the mistake. Here I should have gotten a horseshoe crab. We will correct it later. First, something amazing happens. We find an aberration spot, which is especially great at this particular moment in the run because the next fish shrine is very close and all it needs is an aberration. So a small change of plans. Instead of doing the figure in purple first, we prioritize this part of the swamp, where we bang! Blast our way open to the Goliath tigerfish, which is the next legendary fish on our rarity pursuit. Twisted Strand is famous for its confusing channels and hard navigating. But we managed to find our way to the fish shrine, where I make the questionable decision to replace the anti-tangle line with the tannin rod, which didn't add any value and just took space and time away. And then I realized that I had indeed forgotten that horseshoe crab. So we had to get back, get a crab, and finally make our way to the figure in purple. We catch a tarpon, align ourselves with that island, cross about a third of the entire map way back to Stellar Basin to get a barrel eye fish, there is no faster way, trust me, and bring 2 fishes and 1 crab to the funny person in purple. We get one of the best books in the game, Pushing the Limit Engines, as if we weren't pushing the limits already here, which makes us 7.5% faster. We are in a speedrun, of course we read it immediately. Also, this is in my opinion the earliest timing we are able to get this book without any major time losses, because we need the abyssal rod for the barrel eye fish, which we can only get by visiting the researcher in Stellar Basin, and we need a horseshoe crab, which required us to spend at least some amount of time at Twisted Strand in order for the crab pods to kick in. So yeah, getting this book is a key moment in the run, because it is a lot of additional speed for free. A clear S tier book. Back to the run, we now go to the second dog tag location, west of Twisted Strand, and dredge some more materials, which retrospectively is a mistake because our storage is so crowded and we don't need more lumber or cloth right now, but we need scrap metal, which I wasn't sure where to get. We go back to the platoon where we get our crabs and collect the crab pots, get the explosives in our inventory, but then desperation kicks in because of this incredibly full inventory. What have I done? So I started the mission of the swamp, getting a mullet and a gar and the first part of the mortar, when I realized there is scrap metal nearby. So I quickly took 2 of them, went back to the platoon, got the upgrade and finally cleaned up my storage, which was extremely satisfying to me. And back we went to the original plan, using the heavy duty troll net to catch some mullets, which we need for the main story pursuit. This usually is a time save, but as I had to rearrange so many things in my inventory and even did get another mangrove rod, it didn't really help in retrospective. Well, it is a learning curve. Until now, my Twisted Strand was quite chaotic. This time we actually start the expedition of the swamp. We sleep until 10, catch a mullet to ensure that we will have enough when arriving at the airman's camp, and then another slip-up happened. As I caught another gar for the airman's quest, I was tagged by one of the swamp monsters. Their attack does no direct damage to us, but it increases our panic level to a maximum, which triggers all the events at the swamp. There are going to be roots everywhere from now on. I mean, look at this. Not even Banish did prevent these roadblockers from taking away time from me. I misrespected the one rule of the swamp: don't be in panic. Usually this is my favorite area because of all the Mario Kart-like navigation and everything can be so smooth. This area is full of funny perks and possibilities to be very fast. But we are not fast here, we are blocked. Is this where our luck has run out? We finally make our way through and arrive at another plane wreck to get a research part and the last dog tag just to be barricaded again. Panic in swamp is brutal. We go to the last airplane, dredge the second part of the mortar, carefully navigate to a catfish spot, pick up the node right there and blow up the blockade in front of the camp of the airmen. A trained military veteran who's ready to kill. We bring him the mortar, he asks us to bring him fish which he can turn into bait in order to kill swamp monsters. Before we catch the last 2 fish we need for the airman, we hand him those dog tags. We carefully collect it and trade them for research parts, which we immediately spend on upgrades so our storage doesn't get too full again. We get 2 eels, one of them even has 2 heads, trade them for bait, and then we go monster hunting. Did I mention that I love the navigation here in Twisted Strands? So we carefully place the bait buckets into the traps, and while the trap is doing its work, I catch as much fish as possible. We want to turn them into bait as well. Now this is the reason why we brought the mortar to the airmen, to kill these minesuckers. Anyway, this is how DREDGE speedrunners see Twisted Strand. Alright, so now we bring the minesucker heads to the veteran, get the necklace as our 4th relic and ask him to make us some more bait. Some more or just a lot? That's actually way more than we need, but it is safe, right? Later on we can catch some rare fish with it. Because it is so much bait, I catch some of the expensive swampy fishies and take them with me as we manifest back to Blackstone Island. We exchange the relic for a new ability, probably the most important ability in this run. Atrophy. It basically works like this. We eliminate an entire shoal of fish and get all of them. The status of the fish is never going to be fresh, so this is how the developers bans the ability. Otherwise we would be completely rich in no time. There is a very interesting and time-saving mechanic. If we already have an entry of the fish we are using atrophy on in our encyclopedia, we will get a guaranteed aberration every time we use atrophy. This is how this run is possible, otherwise it would be completely RNG dependent whether or not we find the aberrations. This mechanic probably saves not less than 1 hour. Similarly to the banish ability, it has a cooldown of 12 hours in-game time. So what we want to do is maximize our use of atrophy in order to get as many aberrations in the shortest amount of time possible. So we start preparing for Devil's Spine, the last area, by getting the crab pots into our inventory. We want to repair them. We also make sure we have that explosive on our board which we bought earlier in the swamp. Next we use atrophy on the blacktip reef shark so we get its aberration. We pay the fishmonger a visit to sell our delicacies from Twisted Strand, find a grouper aberration and an eel aberration. Look at how much money we get. We sleep and off we go to the last area of the game, the one I feel most confident about, Devil's Spine. At this point, we are 2 hours into the game. We start our trip by getting a sailfish for the money. While the sky is turning red, we use atrophy on a snake mackerel to get the aberration entry for the encyclopedia. We blast our way inside the first location of the stone tables and dredge it. We get the note, we deploy our crab pots in the depth of 15 meters in order to catch the most expensive crabs in the game, the squat lobster and the spider crab. We sell our fish, sleep and catch an armored sea robin, use atrophy for the aberration before making our way over to the unique fish of this area, the coelacant. Nah, you people just read it, I can't pronounce that. We reconfigure our inventory and get the volcanic rod, get some crabs, sell them, deploy another crab pot in the depth of the volcanic snail, crabs, sell, and we get the entry of the snail. Next, we get ready for our expedition through all of Devil's Spine. We make sure to have 2 explosives with us and off we go. We get a spider crab and a squat lobster, catch a ghost shark with our abyssal rod, solve the first shrine with our crabs, catch a pale scale and get its aberration by using atrophy. We need it for the last shrine. Next, we dredge the second stone plate and navigate to the second shrine, which asks us to fill it up with the ghost shark and the pale scale. Do you remember how I mentioned at the start of this run that we can manipulate time at the shrines? Well, this is the point in time where this mechanic will be of major use. We just used atrophy, which has a cooldown of 12 hours. All we got to do is reinstalling our engine until 10 hours have passed, which is enough to open up the access to atrophy again for us. We blast our way out of the shrine because it is faster. We get to this shark spot and use atrophy to get our second aberration for the last shrine. The next thing we need is the third stone plate. So we use banish for safety against these annoying little goldfish and make our way to the last location. We use our explosive, dredge the stone plate and manifest home. We are going to return here soon, but first we have to do something in the Marrows. We say hi again to the trader, who's amazed of us having those stone plates. He combines them so they become whole. It is the item we need for the ancient lighthouse. We sell our treasures, dredge some more materials, get even another research part, and use the refined metals to upgrade our hull for the last time. We empty our storage into the slots. We atrophy some mackerels and begin our journey back to Devil's Spine. We need a sailfish for the figure in red, head over to the last node and pick it up, get a frilled shark, also for the figure in red, and meet the fanatic to bring him the 3 flames from the fish shrines. They are carefully placed into the 3 statues. You just know immediately who this weird fundamentalist voted for. Oh no, what a shame, we couldn't prevent this. Well, at least we have the relic now. We sleep to reset our atrophy, get a frilled shark, and forget to put the stone plate into the ancient lighthouse. Well, in a 3-hour run, there have to be at least some mistakes, right? We catch a cusk eel and hover to these islands over there, where we find the figure in red. We feed it, get the last book, and realize that we did a large mistake. We didn't read a book from the start of Devil's Spine onwards until now. Is this going to cost us time in the end? Certainly. We head back to the ancient lighthouse dock and still don't realize we have to finish a pursuit here. We sleep to reset atrophy, we still need the aberration of the cusk eel. This is how it is possible to finish the complete area of Devil's Spine in just 3 trips. First, the coelacant thingy, whatever it is called. Second, the large trip for the fish shrines and the stone plates. And third, the ancient lighthouse and the figure in red. Devil's Spine would be completely finished now, if we hadn't forgotten to finish the pursuit in the ancient lighthouse, but we did. So we manifest back home and reconfigure our inventory for the endgame. With the pursuits and the nodes out of the way, it is time to start the last chapter of the speedrun. We still need to finish 6 things. The fish Pokédex, also known as Encyclopedia, the upgrades, which we already got many of. We need to finish all the researches, and although we obtained all the books, we still need to read them. We need to talk to 1 more NPC and finish the last fish shrine in Stellar Basin. So the next 50 minutes of gameplay are pretty much a combination of dredging materials, using as many atrophies as possible, and finishing the last fish shrine in the process. Also, at some point I still had to finish the ancient lighthouse pursuit. So let me show you the reaction of someone who realizes that he has majorly fucked up. I didn't do the lighthouse! No! Let's quickly correct the mistake and get an aberration on the way. Finally finishing the lighthouse and also finally getting a light in here. Talking about lights. We don't really need them. They use up inventory space and they draw the attention of the fog of panic to us. But this light is very powerful and helps a little when navigating through the night, and our inventory space isn't the most important thing anymore. So with the lighthouse out of the way and Devil's Spine finally completed, here is an embarrassing montage of a boat getting its last upgrades. Alright, so with the upgrades out of the way, next thing we have to focus on is finishing the last fish shrine and the encyclopedia. For the fish shrine we are going to wake up at 4:30, catch a black-tipped reef shark, and as it turns day, we get a bronze whaler, use atrophy on some mackerels, and catch a ghost shark nearby Stellar Basin. We talk to the old mayor, who is the only NPC left we haven't talked to yet, and go to the shark shrine. We meet the hammerhead we have put here almost 2 hours ago and finish the shrine. Now the aberration farming starts. Basically, this part of the run consists of making maximal use of atrophy and cool it down by sleeping at the platoon. We are lucky and find a rare spawn of the moonfish, and even more lucky to randomly get its aberration here. We use atrophy on the loose jars, get a barracuda and its aberration, the aberrations of the hammerhead shark, the red snapper, and there we go, the jellyfish aberration. Before the patch, the jellyfish aberrations were extremely hard to get and destroyed some of my runs, which of course was extremely frustrating. Now the chance of getting them has been doubled, and I think that's great news for the speedrun. The next aberrations we get is the snailfish, the grouper, we catch a blackfin tuna with our trawling net and get the aberration of the barrel eye, and as we catch the fangtooth aberration, we have finished all the fish entries from Stellar Basin. Stellar Basin is completely done now. As some of the oceanic fishes like the moonfish and the sunfish can be very hard to get, it is easier to use bait in an area of the ocean. The next area we are going to finish is Twisted Strand. On the way we have to cross the ocean, so we deployed some bait right here. We catch a sunfish for the entry, and the next sunfish will be atrophied for the aberration. As we get to Twisted Strand a second time, we get the catfish aberration, the sergeant fish and its aberration, and forgot to read again. This will be painful later. We get the gar aberration and the tarpon aberration. We check the encyclopedia to be sure that we got all the aberrations from Twisted Strand. We do, so the swamp is finished. Wow, this was some hard bounce our boat did here. We get the second gulf flounder aberration, a blackfin tuna aberration. We finally start to read the last book, and on our way to the last area we have to finish, we get the sailfish aberration, which means the Marrows are now completed as well. We arrive at Gale Cliffs. We get the devil ray and its aberration before entering the cave behind the waterfall again to catch the oarfish. This is how we finish the pursuit of the traveling merchant, who asked us to catch the unique fish species of each area. Next is the first aberration of the wreckfish, then the black sea bass and its counterpart, the oceanic perch and its tiny friend, the first tiger mackerel aberration, the second wreckfish aberration, the sturgeon and the shiny sturgeon, and as the last of all the fish, we get the bearded mackerel. That's it. That's all the fish. We just finished the encyclopedia. Now we have to finish the research tree. It usually is the last thing to do in a 100% speedrun. Or is it? Usually we have to save and quit the game and get about a 20% spawning chance of a research part. As this mechanic made it very annoying to finish the research tree, in the new patch the developers have decided to change that. Since the new update was implemented, we get a guaranteed research part spawn with a 50% chance of even getting 2 research parts. Yet this run was recorded before we had this luxury. And still, we are very lucky here. Really lucky. We got 3 research parts in a row here. I even farmed one too many of them. This never happened to me before. Look at me finishing that research tree. And then I realize it. The catastrophe. The largest mistake in this run. Plan for the future hasn't been read completely. That's so bad. No. So how do we deal with this? We go back to the Marrows and we dredge. But we don't really dredge. We watch our fisherman in an agonizing process of 4 minutes, failing the dredge material minigame over and over again. That's how we read the book the fastest, as time jumps every time we fail a dredge. After 4 minutes, we go to the mansion and prepare for the end of the world. The last thing to do is pushing the limits of our engine until we arrive at the ritual. This is it. This is the fastest time anybody has ever completed this game on a full 100% run. We did everything. We got all the pursuits, we got the colorful figures, we got the upgrades and research, we talked to all the NPCs, got all the fish and did all of the fish shrines. We stop the time as soon as the last chat box closes and we throw the book into the water to start the ritual. It was quite a ride, and it is not over for me. Although I am pretty proud of the route I have come up with and the work I have put into this, the story of the 100% speedrun of Dredge is not over. The game is still so young and there are many time saves left. I am completely new to the speedrunning scene and I am so excited to see what professional speedrunners are going to come up with. Thanks to the developers and the DREDGE Speedrunning Discord for the large support. With you people, this is so much fun. We have achieved so much and we are just getting started. The sub 3 hour run is possible, that's for sure, and we don't know what else is possible yet. Let's find out.